Hi there, grade 7s. As you know, this year we do protest artwork, which involves looking at examples of protest artwork and writing an exam on different works that involve protest and all the elements of art and principles, etc., that are used to make the protest artwork happen. And I also ask you to make your own example of protest artwork based on a topic of your choice. So I thought for today, I would like to teach you how to go about looking at an artwork and figuring out what the message is behind the protest artwork. It's a natural follow-on lesson to the previous one I just did with you, because you've just learned how to use some elements of art to create an emotional and expressive artwork. While you worked with possibly music for inspiration and an abstract emotion idea to start with. So an abstract emotion is just like love, hate, confusion, that type of thing. So you had your emotional choice, and then you maybe used a bit of music, and then you used line, different qualities of line, different color associations, application, and possibly subject matter to try and get that message of the emotion that you've chosen across in the artwork. You did an exceptional job, grade 7s. I'm really, really very impressed. Super proud of you. I was blown away by how good the artwork was, the level of effort that you went to. I really thoroughly enjoyed the videos and looking at the artwork, and I want to thank you for putting in all that extra work for art. And I hope you enjoyed it. It did look like you did enjoy yourself, so I enjoyed watching your videos. Thank you. So you did that task, okay, which helps to understand how artists get emotion in their artwork. So protest artwork is when an artist chooses a topic, and that's where they would probably start. So instead of thinking about an emotion and then using the music to guide you, they would have their choice of topic that they're angry about or that they want to make a statement about, and that would be their starting point. So this could be anything from protesting about poverty or something environmental or war. So generally speaking, because they feel upset about the topic, that's why they're going to go and choose it to be a topic of protest, their artwork ends up looking a little strange sometimes, or very emotional, or sometimes even just a bit disturbing. And this is natural because, as I'm sure you saw, that expressive work can look, especially angry work, can look really, really angry depending on the colors and application that you use. They would then choose their subject matter. Now, I know you learned last time that you can have an expressive artwork without subject matter, and that of course is true. However, protest artwork is there for a reason. It's because the artist is trying to speak out about a topic. So if we go back to last project that you did, I could certainly tell that you were angry by your choice of color and your application, your line use, and maybe subject matter. But I mean, it's very difficult to tell exactly what you were angry about without any visual clues. So that's why protest artwork usually involves some sort of subject matter, because then it helps to get the message across. So when they involve subject matter and their feelings, you can imagine the artwork quite often looks quite strange. It sometimes looks weird. It sometimes looks a bit upsetting. And this is either because the artist was really angry about the topic while doing the artwork, or because the artist purposely made the artwork look weird to try and make people look at the work and think, gosh, what's going on there? And try to take a closer look and figure out what's going on, which then draws attention to the artwork and draws attention to the actual topic that the artist is protesting about. It's quite a clever tool. Sometimes artists use strange combinations with their subject matter, adding a different head or mask or horns, things that wouldn't normally be there, for example. This is to attract more attention to their subject matter and their message. The Guerrilla Girls is a group of female artists who protest about the lack of female artwork representation in galleries. Artists sometimes use simplification or distortion to make the subject matter or artwork look strange, which draws more attention to the work and shows more emotion. Simplification involves working without all the details. In other words, you've simplified it. And this is done on purpose by really good artists. Now, the artwork in the background is The Scream by Edvard Munch, and the figure right in front here has been completely simplified. It doesn't even look like this person has got a spine or a skeleton inside the body, and the face has been completely simplified to look almost like a skull. Distortion involves changing the size or perspective of something on purpose, like enlarging a feature or twisting a face to make it look more expressive. Backgrounds can also be distorted or simplified, showing no depth or perspective. As in this artwork of The Scream, the background looks completely strange. It's no depth and perspective at all. Sometimes an artist will use symbolism in their work, which just means that they use symbols for extra meaning. So in other words, these symbols can be personal symbols, something that's private to the artist for their own personal extra meaning, or what's normally the case in protest artwork, a symbol is more universally understood. Like, for example, the fist. The fist, clenched fist like this, usually means a fight or a struggle or a protest or a revolution of some sort. And artists will use the fist in artworks, protest posters, for example. You will often see the fist, Amandla, or if it's not South African, it's universal. All countries have used the fist for protest and for struggle. A dove, likewise, could symbolize peace. So there are a whole lot of basic symbols that artists can use, and sometimes they can hide them away in their work, which will give an extra secretive meaning to the artwork for the viewer to try and find and figure out. Before we start to look at an actual example of protest artwork, I'd like to go over the elements, principles, and other factors of expressive artwork with you so that you know what I'm talking about. Protest artwork creates a statement about society in general, as you've heard, and or about a topic, a specific topic. And these artworks involve the exaggerated use of one or more element, principle, or other factor of art to emphasize the strong feelings or the artist's statement. Now, what you've got on the screen in front of you are a few elements of art. There are 7 in total. They are the building blocks of art. So we use these elements to make an artwork. So an artwork can be made up of lines, shapes, or color, etc. like that. Now, we learned about line and color last week when you did your expressive artworks. Now, if you have a look on the list, you'll see that there's shape, form, tone, texture, and space as well. You will also see that I've drawn a line through tone and texture. They are important elements of art, but we are dealing mainly with expressive protest artwork. So I don't really need you to understand those 2 elements while we do protest artwork. And when we're looking at protest artwork specifically, what I'm referring to when we talk about shape is 2-dimensional artwork. So that's your flat artwork, paintings, drawings, and photographs. And when we look at form, we're looking at artworks that have 3-dimensionalities. So those are your sculptures and your installation pieces. You can see them from all different sides. Space looks at your use of negative and positive space. So the positive is actually what is depicted, and then the negative is the space that's around that. Now, we use the elements of art to show principles such as contrast, proportion, emphasis, unity, balance, harmony, rhythm, movement, and variety. All of these principles are really important, and they do feature in protest artwork. However, I don't need you to know them at all. I instead want you to understand the following. I call them important factors of art. I'm not too sure what to call them because they don't fit in with elements or principles, but they are most certainly used by artists in protest artwork. Now, you have learned about subject matter and application in the previous task, and I've just explained distortion, simplification, and symbolism to you now. So now I think we're pretty much ready to have a look at an example of protest artwork.